Hello everyone, we're back with our continuing coverage of the 2014 League of Legends World Championship. And right now, I would like to welcome a local favorite, the Taipei Assassins AD carry, Vivi. Fantastic to talk to you here in Taipei. First up, what does it mean for you to be back here on the world stage after a year of not being there and of course winning it all the way in Season 2?
请问重回世界大赛以后，你的感想是什么？因为 S2 你赢冠军了，可是 ST 你没有参加。
重回就是世界舞台是非常高兴的，因为这是每个选手的梦想。然后我对于这次可以登上世界舞台，就是我会就希望可以拿到很好的成绩这样。
He's very happy that he's back at the world stage. It's a dream for all the players, and he hopes to succeed in this season.
Well, talking about succeeding in the season, you guys did fantastic over in the GPL, and you guys actually said after All-Stars that you felt kind of behind on the foreign teams. So how far do you think you've caught up coming into this tournament?
说 All-Star 的时候，你们那时候好像打得不是很好。那现在从 All-Star 到现在，你们有什么差别吗？有进步吗？
对，因为我们在 All-Star 之后，然后我们有请了一个韩国教练，然后韩国教练就是教了我们许多的东西，然后也是把他的这个知识带到我们这边来。所以我们现在就是一定会比明星赛的时候好。
So after All Stars, they hired a Korean coach, and he's been giving them different strategy and guides, and hopefully that has improved the team's strategy by a lot.
All right, so of course you guys are coming in here, and later today you have the game versus Starhorn Royal Club and their superstar Uzi versus you in the bottom lane. How do you think that matchup is going to go, BB?
所以之后你们马上要跟皇族打了。那 UCI 是很有名的 ADC， 那你有什么想法呢？
我知道 UDI 是一个非常强的选手，所以这次就是等一下比赛，我会尽我全力打败他。
He knows that UCI is a really good AD carry, and he'll do his best to defeat him.
All right, well, that'll be a great matchup. Finally, you're here in Taipei in front of your home crowd to play those games. Is there anything you want to say to the fans coming out here?
最后一个问题是，你在台北，然后现在在家乡，有没有话要跟你所有的粉丝讲？
就是谢谢一直支持 TPA 还有我的粉丝，然后我们这次会尽全力拿到胜利，谢谢。
He's thanking all the fans in Taiwan for their support, and they'll try everything in their power to win the games.
Well, it's fantastic to have you guys here, and good luck in your upcoming matches. All right, I know everyone is excited for this next match, so without further ado, let's send it over to the guys at the desk.
Thank you very much, Sharks. It is great hearing from the players. Now we're on to our third match, which is going to be Turkey's Dark Passage versus GPL's AHQ eSports Club. Look, both of these teams are considered to be massive underdogs in this group, but the winner of this game is the one that we think could potentially be the dark horse. They could potentially go on to upset the two superstar teams. I think they've both got similar play styles. They both rely on strong mid lane play, and their strong AD carries generally getting towards that mid to late game. So let's talk a little bit about their players. Crepo, what's your thoughts?
I just want to say, yeah, potentially, of course, they can be the dark horse, but after watching the first game in the group, I do think they're going to be outclassed by a significant margin.
Yeah, Freak rather. Yeah. Talk to me about Dark Passage. They are far and away the strongest team in their region, gone undefeated for basically 2 straight years. They showed up big at International Wildcard, weren't really pressured. What's your take on their team and their squad?
So they are, again, the best in their region, but it is a fairly small region. If you wanted to rank this team internationally, you would probably call them a top EU challenger or low EU LCS caliber team. So somewhat below SK at full power. Again, I think this puts them at a pretty weak spot. That said, they are still pretty decent, and they look better than they did last year where they failed the IWC qualifier. Their star AD carry, HolyPhoenix, is a very good player. He's going to be he's going to be everything he can be, but again, it's still a tough climb for these guys. And that's kind of just the story here. Dark Passage are huge underdogs.
Crumbs, you know a little bit about westdoor. He's star for AHQ. What do you think he's going to do against this fairly unknown international mid laner?
I actually think the matchup between these two teams is going to really come down to westdoor just getting a lead. Now, Dark Passage's mid laner is not known for being an exceptional mid laner, but westdoor is. This guy's been rank 1 in North American server, Korean server, and Taiwan server. He's been around for quite a while, and he's built up quite a bit of a fan base for himself. And I think we're going to see him perform
Well, we will have to find out if he does. Guys, before we throw it up to the caster desk to get us into the game, I do want to poll all of you to see who you are going to be picking. We'll do this one in a slightly mixed up order. Freak prediction, who's going to come out on top?
I think definitely AHQ, and I do want to see just how strong AHQ looks. I still think they could be that team to upset Edward Gaming and take second in the group. It's a long shot, but it starts here.
Well, we'll see how they perform. Crumbs, you're next on my hit list.
I got to go for AHQ, westdoor, hoping for that Mordekaiser pick.
Sound like a bit of a fan there, Crumbs. Cripper, are we going to go AHQ or are you going to believe in Dark Passage?
Nah, I'll stick to HQ. I
as well.
too actually want the Mordekaiser pick now that you've mentioned it.
Of course.
I used to scrim a little bit with it with Froggen. We let him have it for a couple of times, and you can have fun with Mordekaiser. So yeah, why not?
Well, it worked for Overpower a couple of times.
Yeah.
Monte Cristo, final thoughts.
AHQ, I don't think there's a lot to say here. They play in a vastly more competitive region, and despite Dark Passage dominance, it's probably going to be an AHQ win.
Well, we will see if it does work out that way. Guys, you've heard from the analyst desk. Let's see who you've picked at home to take the win over on lolesports.com. Dark Passage is leading AHQ with 53%. So I think most of the viewers are a little on the fence on this one. Before we get this match underway, let's hear the players from Dark Passage tell us how they have prepared for Worlds while making a name for themselves in the fast-growing Turkish League of Legends scene.
Dark Passage bir LoL takımı arıyordu. Biz de bir takım olarak bu takıma geçtik. Uzun bir süre beraber kaldık. Oyuncu değişiklikleri oldu. Ama her zaman kazanmayı bildik ve devam edeceğiz.
In Turkey, for 2 years, we won all tournaments. Like we just played well and we won them.
Hem arkadaşlık olarak hem de takım sinerjisi olarak diğer Türk takımlarına oranla daha iyiyiz.
First year I couldn't go to wildcard because I was 16 years old. It was really sad for me. This year I could go to wildcard.
We practiced a lot for the wildcard tournament and winning the all Turkish tournaments. It was really hard and exhausting, but we are here. I think the scene in Turkey is still growing up. 2 years ago it was small.
After Riot came to Turkey, we traveled in all of the cities in Turkey and host some tournaments. We gave our players a chance that they can compete with each other, and we found that actually Turkish players have very competitive spirit.
Tabii ki diğer sporlarda da böyle. Türkiye'de büyük takımlar arasında büyük çekişme var. League of Legends'ta da bu kültür devam ediyor.
You know, right after Dark Passage qualified for Worlds, our other teams want to compete for that spot in the future.
Like in the finals, 10,000 people in the stadium watched us playing.
I expect there will be much more competition in Turkish eSports scene.
Türkiye'de keşfedilmemiş çok fazla oyuncu var. Fakat iş takım oyununa gelince tecrübesiz kalıyorlar. Fakat Türkiye'de League of Legends çok hızlı bir şekilde gelişmeye başladı. Bu sorunun kısa bir sürede kalkacağını düşünüyorum.
We work really hard to go to the Worlds and we made it.
Dünya şampiyonasında olduğumuz için mutluyum. Umarım en iyi şekilde temsil edeceğiz Türkiye'yi.
I think as a team we want all Turkish fans to support us, because if they support us, we know we will do much better than our best.
The expectations for us is reasonable. They know how we play.
Aslında benim için çok takım fark etmiyor ama en iyiler gelirse kendimi test edebilirim.
When you think about Fnatic or TSM or other regions, there are so many teams that have history. And I think winning a 1 game or 2 game is really good and enough for Turkish community.
I'm from Norway. I don't speak any Turkish, but I'm starting to learn a few words. I think the Turkish community was a little bit skeptical about me in the beginning, but after Gamescom they wrote to me, well played, so I think I'm accepted in the Turkish community now.
I think every team should take other teams seriously. We are not Team Mineski or we are not Gaming Gear. We are going Worlds to win.
I'm expecting a really good support from Turkish players and the fans. And whatever happens, if we lose or win, they will support us. I'm sure of that.
Such a passionate video as they come out of Turkey. These guys, their passion just shows right through with everything, and you can see why last year's upset was so big for them, for the Gamma Bears to come out strong. Now they get their chance. So let's get right into things with the action and the roster rundown. On the blue side, representing Turkey's Dark Passage. In the top lane, it's fabFabulous. In the jungle is Crystal. Mid lane is Naru. The AD carry is HolyPhoenix, and he's supported by Touch.
And spawning on the red side are AHQ Esports Club. They are going to be a home favorite, that's for sure. From the Greener Premier League, of course. That is Prydz in the top lane, Naz in the jungle, westdoor in the mid lane, finally made it into the World Championships. GarnetDevil's the AD carry, and GreenTea his support.
And I really just can't wait to see these two teams playing on the world stage. Obviously, everyone has been saying they're completely outclassed in their group, but that's why we have to play the games. I want to see if one of these teams kind of blows us away with something a little bit interesting. They're both incredibly aggressive teams, and they both do have a bit of confidence coming in.
I mean, the fact is, they are in the group with Samsung White and EDG. Yes. It is a gigantic uphill struggle for both of these teams, which actually is what makes this match more important.
It really does. If they drop a game to either of these teams, if they want any chance of going out of the group, Dark Passage either has to 2-0 AHQ or AHQ has to 2-0 Dark Passage for even the beginning of a chance.
They call it the David and Goliath, and right now we got the two Davids. They're going to go at it, see which one could beat a Goliath pretty much.
Throw stones at each other.
Get that momentum, exactly. So coming into this, like you guys said, strong individual play from both sides, and I think it's just going to be a massacre of a game because we obviously have Dark Passage coming out very strong, and AHQ on the other side tends to go a little bit longer because they focus team fights and not the objectives.
But both teams are not afraid to brawl. That is very much for sure. And, you know, we talk about the AD carries. This is actually where the pick and bans, I think, may well focus. They're both very strong. GarnetDevil has got a 12-0 on Jinx.
Yeah.
But someone who's not afraid to play Jinx is HolyPhoenix, the main man. And then you look towards the mid lane, a lot of bans towards Fizz, maybe for westdoor. Everybody remembers his Twisted Fate as well, of course. He was famed for that back in Season 1. But Naru, on the other side, is a man that can play any champion, it seems. Let's see how this works out, ladies and gentlemen. Pick and bans underway for the third match of World Championships. Twitch taken away, along with Alistair.
There are some strange and unique champion pools at work in this game.
Nice.
One thing about westdoor is 79% of opponent bans in the GPL were actually targeted at him.
That's crazy.
Most of them on Fizz, actually, who isn't banned this game. We might get to see some westdoor Fizz here.
One thing I did like is the fact that the crowd immediately oohed the moment Twisted Fate was banned. They were like, oh, come on. We want to get to see westdoor play it. It's not going to happen.
The plays.
fabFabulous. Nidalee is available. It's a champion he can go with. Maokai also in there. It really depends on what Dark Passage you want to throw at them.
Slowly waiting to lock this one in, really taking their time. They know this is not going to be one of their hardest matches, but also not one of the ones they want to drop because this is the one they can grab for sure. Both teams thinking that, and it actually is the Lee Sin lock-in. That is the main for Crystal.
It's a lot of confidence locking in that Lee Sin with so much power up on the board. These teams have no interest in the Maokai pick, though, it seems. Wow. Really interested in these early pick and bans.
You know, I seem to recall they did a Lee Sin first pick against Legacy as well, and we were questioning it then. I mean, to first pick the jungler is a big deal, especially when there's so much on the table still.
Came out 3-0 there.
And it's like Kha'Zix is still up. Kha'Zix is a great jungler. It's not like Lee Sin is the exclusive jungle now that's head and shoulders above others in power. It's just a confidence pick there for Crystal saying, yeah, we don't care, we can play anything, we can counter anything, and they want Lee Sin.
So quite a bit left up with the Lucian Thresh lane being grabbed. GarnetDevil and GreenTea definitely liking that to their own. The White Steel lane. HolyPhoenix and Touch. Pretty interesting composition. Touch just being the solo queue player for HolyPhoenix, and it worked out. How are they going to round out the rest of this composition? The tree may get some playtime here, D-Man.
Yeah, it looks like Maokai being hovered over. I'm just looking towards Prydz, actually. There is no Nidalees in his champion pool from the summer. So that's a possibility that Dark Passage are thinking we didn't need to lock that top laner in. We know he can't go with it. I think maybe they're actually trying to force out Maokai. I'm interested to see whether this actually gets locked in. Or whether they do go with this one, or they're just thinking, okay, they've shown us their hand in the bottom lane. We're not too interested in that. It's the mid lane they want to focus on.
The GPO is actually the first region I saw picking up Maokai after the rework, but it was as a jungler, surprisingly. Saigon Fantastic 5 picked him as jungle and often had a band against him. That was before he became a top laner at all. So, not that I expect a Maokai jungle in this game. They just don't really seem to care about him that much in the top lane.
A lot of focus as well with no mid laner being picked that they want to see if they can get any more out of westdoor before they give Naru something to pick. He'll be picking his mid lane and one of the last from HolyPhoenix are touched, but AHQ now to answer. That Maokai picked up with the Nami. Italy had to be somewhere. That's what we were saying. And they are going to hover it on the side of AHQ.
It's
boom.
Such a powerful pick potential-wise. You pick it against Maokai too, and you can definitely try and take advantage of some weakness early on in the game. And Italy's one of the only top laners that can take over a game if Prydz is able to get going on it.
Well, Tristana is locked in, and it seems Syndra could be alongside him. Tristana, of course, HolyPhoenix got the pentakill in that final to get here from the international wildcard. Fantastic Tristana player, very, very aggressive, I gotta add. Those rocket jumps are used to go in, not out.
A pretty squishy team being put together by AHQ as well. If they pick Syndra, I mean, westdoor's obviously set himself up for a counter pick in the mid lane. A lot of teams did this.
Fizz?
It's gotta be, 100%.
Yeah, thought something smelled.
You don't have that many bans against you without being good at it. The fact that the crowd instantly reacted, they knew what was coming. It's going to be a big, big question, and it is a problem for a Syndra player. You are fairly mobile, but you can land those long-range stuns. It's really down to westdoor whether he can dodge them.
Oh, we saw the Zed versus Fizz play and canceling out the death mark. You're going to be canceling out that Syndra ultimate too, so westdoor gets a nice pickup with that Fizz.
I'm really wondering if the Twitch ban is worth it here, because it's not like GarnetDevil plays all that much Twitch. He's still comfortable on Lucian, and now they have to deal with westdoor's Fizz. I can't wait to see it.
It's going to be an amazing matchup. We're getting ready to jump into this one quite soon. You can see the teams panned out now on your screen. Not much of a tank coming in for AHQ, and that could cause problems, but they love to fight, so maybe they'll get there in early before Maokai even can be a tank.
Absolutely. We'll see how this one works out. Of course, the champions are locked in. Head over to Twitter and tell us which jungler you think will have the biggest impact in this game. Tweet your hashtags DPWin or hashtag AHQWin to @LOLeSports, and we'll check those out as the game gets underway. How is this going to work out? That is the question. We are champions in our own right there, apparently, but
it's about the mid lane in a big way here, as it always is in AHQ games. A lot of the time, you almost want to call AHQ Esports Club like westdoor Esports Club, because that's pretty much every time you bring up AHQ, it's like, oh yeah, it's westdoor's team. You hardly ever remember Prydz, Nas, GarnetDevil, or GreenTea. It's just westdoor.
Hey, you got to go through the door if you're going to get somewhere. See how they go coming into this matchup. DP versus AHQ, and we are onto the rift for Game 3, ladies and gentlemen. This has been an amazing start to Worlds already, and there is so much more to go.
I'll see how this one works out. Of course, AHQ, home favorites. They are on home turf. Not had to travel very far for this one, that's for sure. Just across town. And we'll see whether that gives them some bonus coming into this one. This is a game they absolutely will be looking for a victory in. And with the home crowd advantage, we'll see if it works out for them. Dark Passage themselves won everything in Turkey for the last 2 years. Dominant over there. Didn't have that man, that Tristana, that's twitching out in the bottom lane. It looks like we're going to have a bit of a late invade here from AHQ. They're setting up. It is going to get spotted by that sapling. We'll see whether it times out before they come through, though.
Yeah, it's going to be tricky. They're going...
Nope, it spots him.
A little bit early right there.
They all tried to run away. Not going to happen. So they have been found out, but looks like they're going to stick to it. They don't mind.
May as well.
Being fabulous. Throws another soccer ball into the brush. Looks like he keeps it in the rough, so they're going to be safe from that invade. But oh, the bushwhack possibly to be set up here in the top lane.
Wow. AHQ pulling out all the stops early on in the game. Prydz could teleport down. They're really just trying to pull an early advantage in this lane. They're in the wrong spot. They're in just totally the wrong spot. Yeah, they have to abandon.
We'll see whether HolyPhoenix...
Oh, they're trying to sneak around the sapling.
No pings. No, they got spotted.
No.
Yeah, they got spotted. The question is, do they react? How do they perform? They're going to go straight for red. They want to get the red steal, so it's going to be a red and blue steal. The question is, when they come back, how do they cross?
Yeah, both teams were spotted, so they'd have the choice of if they want to try and catch a fight right here. What an interesting set of maneuvers right here. I think HolyPhoenix and Touch should just back away. And yeah, the craziness of swapping buffs right there, and I don't think really anything's going to come of it.
That Australian meta, as Pastry would say, switching up the lanes, and everything's on the bottom side now. So top laners are going to be facing off against each other. A little bit of aggression towards the mid lane. Safety coming in from Nas, so westdoor is not going to find too much pressure there, but he is not level 2 by any means right now.
Whoa.
And he is taking quite a bit of damage.
Wow.
Woo.
Early aggression from Naru. They're using that ignite. Didn't see westdoor panic too much though. Held on to every summoners. Didn't react too quickly to that one.
He started with the crystalline flask and a bunch of health potions. It's expected that Fizz will fall a little bit early to Syndra. It's the CS that we need to watch, and if there's actually a kill, because the harass is actually not that devastating for westdoor.
And there's still kill potential on westdoor, or for westdoor, I should say now. His ignite is up, Naru's is down.
So let's go through what's happened in the jungle, because it's a double blue for Naz and a double red for Crystal. Who's going to have the advantage here? You got to feel that Naz on the Kazakhs, he wanted that double blue.
Yeah, it gives him more sustain options. He does still have a slow with his W. Lee Sin.
Yeah, double red works well for him as well.
It's all right. Like it's actually okay for both of them. Great hook.
Didn't think that was going to land, but it does get touched right on the edge of his tail there. Nas getting seen out by a ward. Looks like he's just going back and forth, though, to make sure Crystal wasn't in the area. But guess what? He is. Could be very big as he's coming up around the backside. There's some bushwhacks in that trap, or in that bush. I wouldn't walk in there. No, don't do it. No, whoop.
Oh, dear.
Well, he got rid of them all.
Hey, I told him not to do it.
At least he managed to clear him out. fabFabulous doesn't have to worry about that any longer.
All right, smart play there by Prydz, getting the forward, not even a ward, but just the brush control for himself. Nas now to go back down, knowing that Crystal maybe have backed off from that count or from the gank, so he's going to get his try in.
He's happy to stick around. He knows he's there. fabFabulous playing this one safe still. Risking it. Risking it. Now he's got Crystal coming back in. Let's see if he can bait this one out. He has just hit level 4. Crystal comes around. I think they're going to go instead towards Prydz. They lock on towards him. Sapling will get the slowdown on him. Have they got enough damage? That is the question. Prydz flashes away to the tower. He does get away free. Now can they turn this back around? No. They are both very safe. Lack of damage on both sides.
Yeah, it really felt like Prydz was going to get away from that one clean, but Dark Passage had a lot of sticking power in that one, and Nas just could not retaliate very much damage there. Obviously, just the level 3 Kazakhs not having the red buff to help him out either definitely hurt them there.
Yeah, definitely a huge one with the red onto Crystal, forcing that flash. There may be a return to lane there for Crystal sometime soon. Great play coming out all around, but again, in the mid lane, we said it's a big focus. 39-28. Naru's been having his way so far with westdoor, but we haven't seen the fights yet. A good hook coming in. HolyPhoenix towards the turret. Forced to jump out, but he doesn't gain much ground. GreenTea was already on his heels. Garnet's not going to be able to make it. Oh, he flips forward to bring it closer. The play is almost coming out. Trying to go a little too deep, but it's so back and forth, and he finally gets out.
Yeah, they're willing to go in, but they just burned 2 flashes offensively. Obviously, every summoner spell in that lane was burned save for the heal on GarnetDevil. Aside from westdoor and AHQ, the other playmaker is definitely GreenTea, and we're seeing why right there. He's landing those hooks right seemingly through the minions.
Poor old Naz returning to that bottom lane. That's ward still yet to time out, so again, does get spotted. Prydz, though, turning back around on fabFabulous. Both sticking around in this lane for a very long time. Naru back in the mid lane. He's got the CS advantage building up over westdoor. Went aggressive early, has got that ignite now back off cooldown. And we'll see, of course, westdoor just biding his time. Needs to get to that level 6. It is about to strike, but Naru hits it first. We'll see whether he decides to go aggressive or maybe try and burn that ultimate before he hits it.
Yeah, westdoor happy to stay. He goes for rings. He knows he can keep the lane going for a little bit longer.
Yeah, Naru has handled him pretty well so far. It's what's supposed to happen in a Syndra versus Fizz. Syndra is supposed to dominate. It's still somewhat close in CS, but this is kind of how you would expect the matchup to play out. And considering the hype that is behind westdoor, I'd say very great job by Naru thus far.
Interesting to see the two AD carriers both having to go early, get the double pickaxes, or single pickaxe apiece, you know what I mean. Oh, Prydz getting caught out. fabFabulous taking so low from this one, but has Crystal got the damage? No! Sonic Wave misses. Good dodge from Prydz.
Prydz might start taking over this lane now, too. You could see how quickly he was able to turn that around on Maokai, even though he had previously burned his flash. And that's going to be trouble there.
Bit of a play here. Nas just far off. He didn't want to get the leap in to get there, and it is going to take a little too long. HolyPhoenix actually dodges into everything. Oh, some trouble dodging the skill shots. First blood for AHQ.
And the teleport was burned and canceled there, which will delay the Maokai in the bottom lane. That is a 2-lane win for AHQ. Everyone but westdoor actually stepping up.
Yeah, I think a little overconfidence. They were trying to bait out a little too much there. And instead, we're not expecting the damage turnaround to come out so heavily from AHQ. westdoor now, can he start putting pressure on Naru? Will Naru have an answer for him if he does? Big difference. HolyPhoenix is the man that needs to carry for Dark Passage. I always feel that. You've got to look towards basically all of their matches back throughout the year. He is the main man. And if he can't get going, if he gets slowed down in any way, which clearly AHQ have already figured out, that's the man they need to focus on, it's going to cause some problems.
GreenTea is just locked in on his patterns as well. He has not been able to avoid those death sentences. GreenTea's percentage on those is through the roof right now. And it's just going to keep coming and coming until HolyPhoenix learns how to dodge them.
And we see how aggressive AHQ is. The flashes are back up and they do it again. We were just mentioning that they had him down and they might play passive. No way, Jose. Now coming in from the top side, Crystal looks to make a play as even more happens in mid. The Waters just misses, but back down to Prydz. He's going to try to get away from Crystal and fabFabulous.
He's a long way from home right now.
Yeah, he's not getting away from this one, I don't think. Unless he makes a miraculous run, it will be a kill, this time for fabFabulous.
You can definitely see the focus right now. Dark Passage on the bottom lane, trying to get fabFabulous into a point where he can neutralize Nidalee and then probably come in team fights. And obviously AHQ is focusing on the top lane to try and get that GarnetDevil going.
A nice bait as well. fabFabulous, we saw him just go down almost to Prydz. And now Crystal is there every single time working that bait very nicely. So 1-to-1 on each side as both teams are making some great plays so far. And we even got a little bit of roam towards, or not roam really, but Nas trying to get help out from westdoor and GreenTea coming into that mid lane gank that we saw missed out.
So pink ward being cleared by Nas.
What?
They were.
He messed that up real bad.
Yeah, he did.
Nas had the sweeper down, but failed to clear the normal ward. Instead wasted his attacks on pink. All right, never mind. That was actually smart. I'm a fool. He saw the timer on the green ward, knew it was going to die anyway, and saved time by killing the pink ward. Presence of mind, actually, by Nas to do that.
Clever little girl. Knew exactly what he was doing. Naru in this mid lane. 20 CS advantage lead. Building up pretty big against westdoor. westdoor, as you saw, throwing out their ultimate Chum the Waters early on, did not find its mark. fabFabulous. We'll see how he continues to deal with this one. Yet to complete that Rod of Ages. Meanwhile, Prydz, you can see clearly feeling very confident on this Nidalee now. Just shoving in that way. But fabFabulous is landing most of the farm here. Not causing too many problems for him. Has to put in that ultimate, but it's a very quick timer.
Almost on his Rod of Ages as well to start charging that up. And we're seeing Triforces almost coming out here. Starting on the Sheens. And Prydz and westdoor are going to be putting out some big damage when they spike to those Triforces. Almost up on 11 minutes right now. The gold is completely even as AHQ looks to teeter-totter that in their favor.
Yeah, but no vision control.
0.
They definitely need some more wards down there. That's one of the things that happens when you're 11 minutes into the game and you still haven't swapped your lanes back. It really is all on the jungle and mid laner there to continue ward control. And Naru wasn't really keeping up his end of the bargain. Created a nice vision black hole there. And AHQ was able to take the dragon.
Oh my gosh! Once again, Touch in trouble. The wave not doing enough. The knockback from HolyPhoenix just about saving his support there. But again, GreenTea landing the hooks.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
It is one thing against the Nami lane. We've seen this matchup before today, though. The Trist Nami can sustain a bunch, and because they didn't die there, it's actually AHQ that has to double recall despite landing what seemed like a great hook.
westdoor cleaning up mid lane. This is the first time he's really been able to farm without pressure on him so far. 116 to 88 there. A lot coming out of Naru. He picks up the Fiendish Codex as well to get a bit more power under his belt with that cooldown. Blue buff already on him. Doesn't look like he wants to attack or try to defend that ward too much. Not much vision coming out from DP right now, and it could start to affect him quite a bit.
Yeah, they seem happy to stick around with this Tristana in the top lane. HolyPhoenix.
That's true.
He's been up there a very long time. westdoor, he's got to that point where he can just play full Trickster onto the minions and wipe the wave out instantly. He's sitting on a lot of gold. You can see you guys, Turkish fans, up early.
A lot of Turkish fans voting.
Of course, we are on the English stream, so no surprises that the Turkish fans have a higher percentage than the Taipei fans here, because they're all in this building. They are watching live. Maybe they need to get that tweet on, who knows.
Prydz. Cheers for clears.
Cheers for clears, yeah. Prydz still sitting on a lot of gold as well. He's farming up, trying to, as you mentioned, get that Trinity Force. It may well be now that he goes back to get it. And that's going to start causing problems. You can already see he's putting a lot of pressure on fabFabulous, unable to stop him in that split push. Somebody is going to have to deal with him. And I got a feeling it's going to be HolyPhoenix that's going to be separated. Split pushing against him.
He's going to have to try and go up against him. Not a super safe time. That's a great shark.
Uh-oh, Naru very much so looking like he could go down here. What a great Sky to the Week. That's the flash off of his playful into the Trickster. westdoor making it look easy with the rest of the team. Actually, he just got it himself.
Yeah, hardly takes damage right there. And a nice move by westdoor, catching Naru, coming back from a ward, I believe. And that is just real trouble for Syndra. Oh, finally a miss.
Plays there though to follow on. You can see Naz comes through. They get the slowdown. We can throw out the Lance and westdoor doesn't take it. Now he does. Slides on in there. The kick from Crystal. Is it enough to save Touch? No, it is not. Oh, maybe it is, but Crystal's in trouble now. He will go down. That's picked up by westdoor. Touch goes as well. And suddenly, AHQ starts to pick up multiple kills.
And those kills woke the crowd up as well right here. It just seems like HQ was in position and Dark Passage was not. Nothing incredibly spectacular except for westdoor's juke of the tidal wave and then grabbed the lantern. That part was awesome. Actually, if he would have grabbed the lantern while the tidal wave was going, it would not have taken him to his final destination. The tidal wave would have interrupted his lantern thing. So it was such nice movement there by westdoor to juke around the tidal wave and have the patience to go in.
We get to see it again.
Yeah, obviously missed hook, but then Touch had nowhere to run. He gets caught by the flay. And this is the big moment right here. If he grabs it now, he doesn't make it. He dodges just around it, seemingly going through the model, but that is because he's played so much Fizz and knows exactly where he is. And then they're able to secure both these kills. Crystal with a failed flash. He would not have been able to escape anyway. And this will be tough for DP to recover from.
GreenTea is creating an immense amount of opportunities for AHQ, and they are taking hold of every one so far. But, like we said, not much objective focus, so all the turrets still stay up. It's 4-1, just the kills right now.
Yeah, you mentioned before all those fights started to happen, before the streak kills all came back to back, massive lack of vision, and we're still seeing it right now.
Dark.
Unawares, of course it is just GreenTea laying in the bush, causing them problems. He's gone off the map, they don't know where he is. Teleport coming in though, they're gonna go for it. fabFabulous coming in.
I mean, there's one way forward here, but they're outnumbered.
That's the grab again onto Touch. A lot of the disengages grab there, but they're going to be able to finally get GreenTea. Give him a little bit of his own medicine. Prydz comes in, very low on mana on this one. Back to Cougar form. He might be able to hit his mark. What an arcade smash coming in from fabFabulous. And Chum the Waters is going to chomp down on Touch. Sushi for dinner.
3-0-1 right now for westdoor. He's getting a little bit scary. Of course, that was a traded kill. But the fact that Fizz was getting farmed is a bad omen.
And you gotta think, you look at nerves maybe for Touch there. That wave was way too early on the teleport. Completely mistimed it. If it would have been at the right time, disengage could have happened. westdoor would have gone in on his own as it was. Oh, Prydz, we didn't see that.
I mean,
it's okay.
Sun was in his eyes.
Yep.
Dark Passage has played on very big stages before. We saw 10,000 showed up for their regional finals, but they definitely seem to be showing a little bit of jitters right here. Touch is struggling.
He didn't play in that game. That's the big thing. Touch only came in for the international wildcard because obviously the support that used to be there is on military service, so was unable to leave the country. So Touch is coming into this one really, you know, obviously Gamescom was pretty big. There was a pretty big crowd there, but now he's at the World Championships. That's what they were fighting to get there. They were only up against Legacy. Now they're up against big teams around the world, and they're up against AHQ in their home club, really, effectively. Oh, GreenTea. Well, that's two, man.
Starting to kill that percentage.
Yeah, that number's getting pretty big right now. He's going to have to pick his game up, clearly. 2,500 gold lead here, trying to vision control around the Dragon. Look at the pink wards. Dark Passage is going to have to pull off something pretty spectacular. They do theoretically still have a great team fight. Prydz on Italy doesn't have a split push presence right now. If fabFabulous could find a fight with the rest of his team, they may be able to turn this game back.
Better warding coming out for sure. The double sight stone finally out for these guys. Dark Passage able to get quite a bit. However, there's a big item difference between the 80 carries right now.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see Infinity Edge was completed by GarnetDevil, of course, getting that kill and 2 assists. Meanwhile, HolyPhoenix yet to get that one. AHQ starting off and almost killing this one. DP, are they going to go deep? They might go for it. Crystal gets hooked in, though. Tries to come through. You're not getting out of that one. Another fantastic hop by GreenTea.
Not the play Dark Passage needed to make right there. Failed steal, could not retreat, and now AHQ continues to pressure.
Slow moves as AHQ starts to drown out the vision for DP here. They're going to set up even more and take everything they can. Bottom turret's about to go down as they control the map.
You know, AHQ have quick games in their region, and I think we're starting to see why. Now that they have the advantage, they are really starting to put some serious pressure. Number 3 miss right there. It was a blind hook. We're going to give him that one.
He's actually on a terrible missing spree. I haven't seen him land one in
He landed one in the pit.
All right.
Yeah.
This guy's right in front of us. It's like 2 feet away.
So, AHQ right now, as we were just saying, you know, they know how to close games out. And Dark Passage, they gotta be careful that this doesn't quickly get out of control because it is already slipping away. 4,000, close to 5,000 gold differential at 18.5 minutes. It's a big problem.
We put a lot of focus on HolyPhoenix. 5K right now, has 1,000, but he's still about 1,600 behind. The team considers him to be one of the heavy carries. If he's not going, the confidence really doesn't come through there. Still have Naru on Syndra, so that could easily be a playmaker, but westdoor has just been far and beyond making more plays with less items.
Yeah, it is a big problem. You can see it was the 2 carries. That is where the goal difference is.
Yeah.
It is the mid and the AD carry, and if they're ahead, it causes a massive problem. There's a massive chunk of damage. You can see AHQ grouping, pushing for this top turret. fabFabulous has to be leaving this turret right now, or he's in trouble.
Slicing Maelstrom only stops so much. He's able to get away from the hook, but they are just going back and forth. Who wants it? Who wants it? Prydz.
Lack of vision control, lack of foresight is what's happening for Dark Passage right now. They were not even prepared enough to launch a valid counterattack against that incredibly slow-moving 4-man dive from AHQ.
It kind of blows my mind to have a lack of vision control with the 2 sight stones that they have.
It's kind of like when a steamroller's coming towards you and naked guns. They just didn't get out of the way. He didn't see it coming, and he's a big tree. He couldn't dodge it that quick. So, Dark Passage, now they react. Naru coming in, trying to put the damage down. And Dark Passage trying to make the play, but AHQ, they react well. And while this is all happening, westdoor's just down the bottom, free farming.
He is getting pretty farmed here. One thing we need to mention actually is GarnetDevil right here. He is having a spectacular game and is greatly underappreciated by the overall community. I've actually been watching a lot of those LCS pros and Korean solo queue streams, and they'll always feature what players are in the game. On a couple occasions, I've seen GarnetDevil in the really high elo games, but he's not listed. Like, he is high up in Korean solo queue right now and is a very good AD carry, having a great game.
A lot of times you don't hear about him because they're kind of shadowed by TPA in the region, but AHQ definitely able to put up some play here. Whether DP would be playing strong or not, they are making the moves and they are making things happen. Littering the map right now. Looks like a light bright on the top side. Not pushing the lanes too much though. Looking for fights a little too much, but they're keeping the lead.
Currently, mid lane goes down. It's 3-0 in turrets. Currently unanswered by Dark Passage. The blue buff being stolen away from them. That's going to be cleared up. Naz smites that one away. And AHQ are taking just about anything they want right now from Dark Passage.
Yeah.
They are seemingly unable to answer anything. They're going to try and group. They're trying to push the mid lane.
Dark Passage knows that they have nothing to deal with in Italy. Even though they have a goal disadvantage, their only option is to try and get a nice 5-man fight, However, it puts him at huge risk, and that's the worst guy to get fished.
Oh, thought he was going to bring it into Naru, but they're still going for the fight. westdoor is a little too far. There's the kill coming out onto Touch. He goes down while blowing summoners, and AHQ starts picking up a few more. 2 for 1 so far. Focus right now from the culling. Prydz jumps in onto Naru, and they're going to keep the kills coming.
Yeah, as soon as Prydz joined the fight, this is all over. fabFabulous is going to get locked up. Good play comes out. There's another. GarnetDevil cleaning up right now. 5-0 the focus is on westdoor. Forget it. It's GarnetDevil and GreenTea. They are a mean partnership in that duo lane.
So nicely done. Like you said, they focus westdoor, but everybody else is still having a good game. 504 GarnetDevil as they push in.
Yeah, and they only ended up focusing westdoor right there because he was so far ahead of the rest of the team. Everyone else was able to follow up right there. Great mechanics there by AHQ to finish off these fights, and they are looking for a quick and decisive victory.
One more time on that.
Yeah, I mean, great Shark, obviously. HolyPhoenix jumps away to kind of close the distance, but he flashes in and eats an exhaust right away. So he is clearly in a pretty rough situation. They burn everything on him, which doesn't leave anything left for the flank that comes in. Obviously, Prydz and the Kazakhs are behind them here. Nice juke up top there by GarnetDevil to avoid the Syndra stun, and it was just a collapsed, messy skirmish. Because of the great lead by AHQ, they're able to easily come out on top.
Already looking for that Baron, creating their pick focus comp here. Really working out for him as westdoor just needed those few items to spike. He may have had a hard time in lane, but he knows the power of Fizz and he knows when to use it accordingly.
So AHQ clearly in the lead in this one.
Oh dear.
Solo. Jump the water's not quite landing. HolyPhoenix get out of that one. Back to my train of thought. What are you going to be looking at towards this one? AHQ, they are looking like a very solid team. Granted, they are against Dark Passage right now.
True.
But Edward Gaming and Samsung White got to be looking towards this and maybe having a little bit of a worry.
I mean, that's going to be the deciders in these groups. This has been such a powerful performance by AHQ. They're going to look to try and make their statement. Obviously, this is the game that they had to win. They're going to try and build on their confidence. They have a rather formidable opponent later today, right? This is kind of their momentum game before they have to play Samsung White.
And another query I'd just like to throw out there. This is AHQ. They're looking solid right now. Taipei Assassins dominate them. They're in TSM's group. They're going to be playing later. That is going to be an awesome game.
You're absolutely right about that. GreenTea, though, trying to make another play.
Oh, he gets the play first to add the slow, making sure his hit percentage goes up a bit, forcing the flash from Crystal. He's got nobody to safeguard to, and the team's in recuperate mode.
Unfortunately, no one grabbed the lantern before he flashed to break it, so when he made that spectacular hook play, the follow-up was late. However, Prydz is being a bit of a menace down in that bottom lane, and they're just using that pink ward vision control around Baron. They started early, though. That's risky.
Well, when you got GreenTea running defensive, I don't think it's too risky. He's been landing those plays, those hooks. They have peeled off, though. They didn't fancy it. They didn't feel they had quite enough there. Or are they just juking them out? Touch comes in, clears the pink wards. And as you mentioned, down the bottom lane, Prydz, he's just caused all sorts of problems. And you know what? We talked about it. They had the advantage. They had the choice. They could have taken Nidalee in this bottom lane. fabFabulous does play this champion very well.
Yep.
And you've got to wonder why they went with Maokai.
Really wanting that safe lane, knowing there's a lot of fight coming for both teams. There's solid play in every player here, but obviously AHQ stepping up to the plate way before DP and able to just get their items out early. We saw the aggression from Naru in the mid lane, but nothing really came of it. They did not try to continue to pressure that, and westdoor just got going. Carry for the team, and they are going to be right behind him. Like we said, you got to go through the door to get anywhere.
AHQ slowing down a little bit. Not an incredibly decisive finish to this one. They have to be careful that HolyPhoenix can't split push too much to become strong. However, they are not too worried about it, knowing that they have the assassination Fizz here, and also the fact that GarnetDevil, with the 5 kills, can probably take Triss down for the next 10 or 15 minutes in 1v1s, and they're just trading an inner turret or an outer turret, which with a 10,000 gold lead isn't ideal, but it's still a good trade.
Well, HolyPhoenix is not backed off yet, continuing to push, so see how much damage he can get down on that top lane turret. westdoor steaming in there. You can see home guard boots on him now, immediately reacting to get out of it. The question is, can he get away scot-free? It looks like he will. AHQ peeling back. So, first turret of the game for Dark Passage there, 5-1. Now, still gigantic advantage for AHQ.
Gigantic indeed. Bot lane's kill participation has been almost with everything. 9 out of the 11 for both Garnet and GreenTea as they make their way around the map. Very omnipresent. Mostly GreenTea. Somehow GarnetDevil finds his way there as well. 2 items to the going to be possibly Phantom Dancer coming in from HolyPhoenix. There it is, actually finished up. Very good for him. Hopefully he can start getting a split push on that can kind of go against Prydz, but I do not think so. Not at this point.
Prydz literally is giving no cares to what fabFabulous does, that is for sure. He is so confident right now in his play that he is basically manhandling a guy that got himself a pentakill at last year's International Wildcard. He's not a bad player, he's just being outplayed in this matchup.
Right.
And I think Prydz is just trying to be as obnoxious as possible right now. Mainly because if Dark Passage does kill him, it gives his team bare. They'd have to send so many people for him in order to actually get a kill.
Focus.
Which is they're actually trying to do right now.
That's the thing. It could even be a 2v1 if he dodges enough.
Where there's a support, there's usually an AD carry. So they're putting way too much into this one.
Well, they're going for it. They're going to catch away. Prydz in trouble. Is he going to get a flash away? No, the pounce is there. HolyPhoenix follows through. But look at this. He's going to catch on towards him. But coming down is westdoor. Tien-Chih is going to go head-to-head with him. Realizes the danger. Chum the Waters catches. That is a very dead fishy. But HolyPhoenix coming back in. They're going to try and turn it around while it's happening. GarnetDevil takes down the top turret. So a death for a turret. AHQ still come out on top.
Honestly, AHQ didn't group for Baron while they were getting collapsed on with Prydz. Good move there by Dark Passage. They burn exhausted ultimates, but at the end of the day, they get a kill and only cost them a turret.
It looks like they're going to start setting up for something special here towards the blue/Baron side of Dark Passage. You can see fabFabulous doesn't really want to go up there. Wary about the situation. AHQ is not going to waste too much time on that. They like their kills, but they also need to keep making moves.
Gotta be careful they don't get flanked in this mid lane. Naz is coming around the side. We know what GreenTea is capable of, and they reacted well. Still, massive lack of vision for Dark Passage. They didn't get out too far. The minute they do get a ping ward down, it's instantly cleared out by AHQ. So, trying to get themselves a little bit of coverage in their own jungle and maybe, just maybe, start to push. Remember, HolyPhoenix, he's on Tristana. He can get going if he gets the items, but GarnetDevil is still somewhere ahead.
And there's a few things about this AHQ team that we have to know. They have very weak tank line, so actually diving turrets or sieging turrets is not that beneficial. They need to be able to find fights in the open. Also, because of the Nidalee, their team doesn't transition fantastically to 5v5 team fights. Prydz needs to create split push opportunities, which then create weird collapses, and AHQ needs to find picks within those collapses. So they actually can't really force a very quick and decisive win. They need to wait for the opportunity. When Prydz gets picked off 2v1, that just delays it even farther.
And Dark Passage is reading this. You can see fabFabulous, as we saw before, using his saplings to pretty much get everywhere because that pick comp is so dangerous from AHQ. westdoor, if he's not the one to be carrying, GarnetDevil's the second carry on the team, and right now at 504, with a little help of how awesome westdoor's been doing in the GreenTea hooks in the beginning, both of them are on par with their usual play. 30 minutes in the game, that 10,000 gold lead is still there, and Prydz, nobody's giving him any trouble right now.
Well, you say that, but Fabulous is now starting to actually juke towards him. He's going to get that Radiance completed soon, and Prydz's power against him in a split push is going to start to fade.
If Maokai can neutralize him, it's actually alright for Dark Passage. Without Maokai, the initiation is low from Dark Passage, but if Syndra gets a stun on a squishy target, they could still actually delay even farther. This is not the worst situation for Dark Passage.
They're actually doing a great job of avoiding AHQ, because AHQ is living in their jungle. However, as I say that, Crystal safeguards himself quickly to safety. 50k to 41 right now. 11-4 on that board. The kills aren't coming in for AHQ, so they're going to have to force the objective.
And AHQ has to be willing to pull the trigger. They have sufficient vision control right now, and they need to trust in their vision control to try and make a play happen.
Oh, GreenTea once again, the hot lands! How the hell did that get through? Crystal does manage to get away, and ultimate was burned for a flash, but meanwhile, Naru caught out. He's going to get caught. Still is going to be enough. Naz gets in. He gets the kill. This is it. Dark Passage in all of the trouble. westdoor slipping and sliding through the entire Dark Passage front line, and that is exactly what they were looking for.
Slipping and sliding indeed. He outplayed everyone right there, especially with the Playful Trickster. The instant Naru tried to get the stun on him. 3 kills, easy bear.
I love the fact that they actually got the fight so far outside of Baron before they did the objectives. So AHQ, they keep history repeating itself with blood before the objectives. 14-4, they pick up Baron, and it shouldn't be too long before they get to the fountain if they don't get too crazy with the kills again. Dragon's going to be up. A little bit of picked up gold here that will definitely help DP. Late game Dragon. Nice. Oh, maybe not. Never mind. No, that's going to be Prydz. He's going to mark his territory.
Needed to run away from that one. Prydz coming round, and you got to give a huge chunk of credit to GreenTea for the entire game, really. He's been the man that's been the initiator. He's been creating the plays. Once again, the hook on Crystal, everybody collapses to defend your teammate, which, you know, it's just natural instinct, but it caused some problems. They should have just said, you know what, you got caught, you got hooked, you're gone.
We got to check this out one more time. Obviously, this play was actually created by westdoor, landing the shark right before Naru could flash away. Such a great Zanya's right after his play from Trickster, and that gave the reset to Naz as well. He could flash over the wall at just the right point, too. Like, westdoor is so good at Fizz. Gets the double kill, gets more farm, finishes his Void Staff, and secures the Baron.
That extended Zanya's with the playful Trickster. Giving enough time for the team to get on his back, carry it through. Great scores around for AHQ right now as they continue their push into the base of Dark Passage. Very good game for the first time on an international stage here at Worlds.
Well, one thing is for sure, when anyone plays AHQ later on, Fizz is going to be banned. You know, there's a reason he had 16 bans against him.
Yeah, there's a reason that 79% of the bans against AHQ are against westdoor is because there's so much threat. You don't want Twisted Fate or Zed to get through either, so in some situations you're forced into using all of your bans onto westdoor.
Extremely good at Assassins. Great champion pool to be utilized. And here he gets his one of the top, if not the top, and he is just wreaking havoc on everybody. Chum the Waters is up again, so they're going to be right on the front door. DP, Culling comes out. Push touch away, and that's not going to be good for the team. That's the disengage they've been using with the tidal wave as AHQ now starts to approach the turret, just waiting for Prydz to get a little closer in the bottom lane.
They still don't have good dive potential is one thing right here. As far as actually tanking the turret, Prydz is a little bit tanky, but you don't want to lead the charge with the Nidalee. Once again, they will try and split up a little bit. When they get the hook, maybe that will trigger things. westdoor, because of his Lich Bane, takes that down pretty quick.
Yeah, and you can see while that's happening, of course, Prydz pulls the pressure back down in the mid. They collapse on towards the middle turret, get a chunk of damage down the hook, this time only finding a little caster minion, not the one they were after. And they continue the split push. Back down the bottom, Prydz goes, keeps that wave going, and Naru, he's the man that's been sent down now to try and deal with him.
Yeah, and we can really see the gold lead getting out of hand here. 15,000 overall. In particular, though, the mid lane has a huge disadvantage, and that's one way that it manifests.
Cutting down the tree quite quick. AHQ gets what they want as they start to pepper the inhibitor. What? How is he hitting these hooks? Amazing stuff coming out of GreenTea. Once again, they back off with not enough control, but that's because westdoor wreaking havoc in the mid lane with Prydz. They are trying to run DP thin here across the front side of their base.
Kind of strange that they didn't actually take the top turret down, which is the strange part about that whole thing.
I'm with you
cracked
on that.
Wide open. Finally, this time they will do. westdoor's on that one. Just needs one more little hit. There's the middle one going in, and it seems that everything will tumble all at once here. AHQ making their way in towards Dark Passage base. And honestly, they're putting a very solid performance here in their first outing. Whoa! Prydz going deep on that one. Ultimate comes out and Naru turns it back around. The tower hit should be enough.
No way!
The burn go down? No! He gets away with it, and they push on through to the base.
I think he just took every spell that DP had to throw at him. westdoor tries to get in, but he gets scattered like the weak. GarnetDevil's going to be hit up by HolyPhoenix here. The last shot crits, and it hits. GreenTea's now the focus. DP is getting what they want inside the base. If this can go to HolyPhoenix, it can get him some good items that he needs, but it's going to be a tough one. I see AHQ coming right back.
Yeah, they got a little bit overzealous right there. Not really sure what they were thinking in a few of those moves. Nerves in front of a home crowd, obviously, and probably just straight up adrenaline. As soon as Prydz escaped this as soon as Prydz escaped this one without dying, AHQ thought, we win. This game is over. They just burned Cinderall. Let's go. westdoor, though, gets kicked back. westdoor got outplayed in this fight. Specifically, that move right there. He would have killed HolyPhoenix if Naru had not hit him with the Scat of the Week at that exact moment, and that completely turned the tides of the fight because it reset HolyPhoenix, it allowed him to get the damage, and it kept Dark Passage in the game.
Well, it's a triple kill for HolyPhoenix. We'll see if that's enough. Can they hold on? They did only lose the middle inhibitor, but the top one is cracked wide open, and the bottom turret on next to nothing with a gigantic gold differential of 14,000 gold here. AHQ, big, strong position. Prydz, will he go too deep on this one? It's the first misplay he's actually made all game, honestly.
Yeah.
But you can't knock their confidence, that's for sure. I mean, you know, 30+ minutes in, 17, 18 kills. They're going to be a little cocky.
Absolutely. And now, I mean, yes, they gave a triple kill to HolyPhoenix, but because HolyPhoenix is so paranoid of getting every last ounce of damage out, he has no magic resistance. If westdoor gets in range of him, I think he gets one shot. I'm pretty sure that's what happened with the 600 AP Fizz against a Trish with no MR.
It's not going to look pretty, that's for sure. She's going to fall down and go boom. 68,000 to 53,000 right now. 17-8 as the kills continue to flow in for AHQ. And now they've been starting to grab the objectives once again to the front door of Dark Passage's base. This should be a downed inhibitor, but it's going to be Prydz taking a little bit longer to get to the bottom lane, so they should be able to defend it for now.
Yeah, we just saw AHQ pinging on HolyPhoenix. I think it was simply put, target acquired. Let's see who can get him first, because I don't think they're going to hold the trigger too long on this one.
It's one thing to build all your damage items, but if you have to give so much respect that you can't even get in range to do damage, the damage items themselves aren't worth it. He needed to build some magic resist before finishing his 4th offensive item.
Almost to that level 18 max. Have his range, but like you said, getting in too close. westdoor, that's the range he wants. Slowly moving around, keeping it split. westdoor and now Nas instead of Prydz in the mid lane, and they're going to work the 2-3 between mid and bottom. Yeah, that's turret's going down quick.
They're split perfectly right now. westdoor up on towards the Nexus turret, just off towards the top half of the screen, and it's splitting Dark Passage completely in half. Touch so careful right now. HolyPhoenix as well. They did get Nas very low on hit points. That was a good split from HolyPhoenix. You can see that shield on him built up because of the damage he did, and that has delayed them ever so slightly, but AHQ are just going to back off, take Dragon, while Dark Passage, are they going to risk it? Are they going to go for a ballsy Baron play?
They may have to, but I don't know if it's going to work out. It was a nice delay here, and it's going to delay the game for quite some time. AHQ ends up taking the Dragon. That's getting in range.
They're going for westdoor.
Whoa! And goodbye. He was exhausted during that. Still takes down HolyPhoenix. Cannot touch him. Indeed. Fox goes down, but it's only for himself to be put in it. GreenTea gets another play for himself. The flash box to start it off. 19-8 here, coming up on 40 minutes. It's going to be Prydz looking for another one. Garnet's already in the base. These guys are coming out of the woodwork right now, having to throw out the tsunami. And that's going to be the safety for touch.
Yeah, I think you answered the question there. You know, if westdoor with 600 AP can get onto HolyPhoenix, he could one-shot him. Sure as hell he can. AHQ going to shove on through. That's the top Nexus turret going down. One final one remaining. Nothing they can do to stop it once westdoor comes on through. And AHQ in front of their home crowd pick up their first victory over Dark Passage.
Gotta feel pretty good, but the battle was won. They still need to win the war. They are in an incredibly tough group. They handled Dark Passage quite well, but it took them 14 minutes and 16 seconds. Definitely a strong first performance. They got a lot of work to do.
Great play all around from the team. They can follow westdoor's strength. GreenTea coming up huge. Such a playmaker, 8-1 on his recent games of Thresh, so it should have been expected that he was going to do that over and over again.
Solid overall performance. Back of a chair. That's exactly what they Dark Passage were thinking there, spinning round. Of course, AHQ coming across, congratulating them. And honestly, all the talk, westdoor played fantastic. Yes, sure, he delivered, but for me, it was GreenTea. GreenTea was the man. He got GarnetDevil going. He shut down HolyPhoenix. He shut down just about anyone that came towards that duo lane.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool thing to watch there. GreenTea definitely the playmaker, it seems like, for AHQ, being able to set up all those plays. I guess that is what a playmaker is.
Yeah, we look at AHQ though. Move forward in our thoughts here. Does their hesitation in the late game get taken over by TSM, by Samsung.
Yeah, they're going to have some issues, I think, against EDG and Samsung White. We're going to get to see them against Samsung White later today. Definitely a good momentum-building game for them, but it's going to be a tough one. That's for sure.
So crazy. Another awesome match to start off Worlds. We have more for the day, and it's just going to only get better. Home team crowd pumping, or home team pumping up the crowd. Now they're ready for the next matches as well.
Yeah, some great games. Obviously, that's the three of us done. There's another 3 games to go, though, so don't go anywhere. But what a fantastic opener we've had to Worlds already.
Absolutely.
Game 1, absolutely spectacular. Samsung White taking that one over EDG. Very, very close. And then TSM coming through and absolutely steamrolling through SK Gaming.
Yeah, good preview for some of the top teams in every group. We're still yet to see some big teams, though. Star and Royal Club, TPA, teams that are in these 2 groups are going to be really impressive games.
A lot of momentum to be grabbed in these first few games, and a lot to be had for the teams that play again today. Doesn't seem like too many were caught in trap games. Obviously, Team Solomid came out very strong in their own, so everybody seems to have done their homework now coming into Worlds. It's been impressive.
So obviously with Samsung White winning the first game, EDG is now the focus target for AHQ. The question is, can GreenTea and GarnetDevil do the same against Name and FZZF? I'm not so sure about that. That's a big question. And more importantly, the mid lane. I actually think westdoor maybe has the edge in that mid.
westdoor did a good job withstanding the Cinder. Not very many Fizzes can do that so well early in the lane. And specifically, GreenTea was completely locked into HolyPhoenix's movement patterns with that Thresh. I don't know if he can do the same against Name. Although, maybe Name is a little bit damaged after that game against Imp and Mata.
He didn't look like he was having too much fun at the end. Quite vocal on the screen as we saw. But for now, we're going to throw it over to Shox, who is standing by on stage with westdoor from AHQ.
Thank you very much. Well, first off, congratulations. What a first great victory here for AHQ. Talk me through the picks and bans and getting your hands on that Fizz for you. One of your favorite champions, and a great job you did.
首先恭喜你获得胜利。那可不可以跟我们讲一下你们 ban 的流程？然后你拿到飞狮的时候想什么？
我们 ban 第一支是 ban 亚历斯塔，就是牛，然后再 ban 吉林，然后最后是 ban，第二 ban 是雷兹，然后再 ban 吉林。然后想什么吗？想什么就是，因为我们是比较刺客强开的阵容，就比较怕这些保牌的。
So their bans were like Alistar and Zillion and Ryze. So they want to make sure their assassins were okay when they ban those characters.
All right, so you did get your hands on that Fizz. A great game from you guys overall. And a lot of times people say, well, it's westdoor that's going to carry AHQ, but the whole team stepped up. So does that relieve your pressure a little bit?
他说大家都想说 westdoor 一定会 carry。那看来你的队员也表现得非常好。那你的想法是什么？
其实是我的队员在 carry 我，我在中路农兵而已。他们给我这个环境去输出，对。
The truth is, my team carries me. They give me the environment to shine.
Well, fantastic. We did see that here in that first game, but a lot left to come. A very tough group for you guys. Some very strong competitors. A game upcoming versus Samsung White, which is, of course, a whole nother beast. How do you think that one's going to go?
你们的小组非常多好手，那再来要跟 Samsung White 打，你心里有想什么吗？
非常期待，对。
I'm looking forward to it.
Well, so are we, westdoor. Finally, here in front of a home crowd, is there anything you want to say to the fans out there who came out to support you guys?
你跟粉丝有想要讲的话吗？
我们会在死亡之组脱线的。
We will come out the group of death.
You will come out the group of death. Well, fantastic job here. Congratulations. Thank you very much. All right, now let's throw it back over to the guys at the desk.
Very much, Shox. These two teams, they are close, but truthfully, the gap between them, Samsung White and Edward Gaming, does feel particularly high. westdoor, their big words will make it out of the group. He has a chance to prove that later against Samsung White. Let's talk about this game. I feel that both of these squads made a fair amount of mechanical misplays in terms of exactly how they interacted with their champions, but AHQ clearly better and clearly strategically ahead of Dark Passage.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of things going wrong. If you can compliment them for something, AHQ called the lane swap initially. They knew that the enemy bot lane was going to swap away from them. They followed them, and then they followed up with a lot of jungle pressure. And hey, look, Lucian Thresh beat Nami the Tristana. The god tier 80 carry can be beaten, and it happened. Not in the most convincing way. Still some screw ups mechanically, but that kind of snowballed the game.
Well, just in the pick and ban phase too. I mean, it was just incredibly one-sided. They got everything that they wanted, AHQ that is, and you play against westdoor, you have to respect that Fizz. This is a champion that he is famous for playing. And if we transition into the late game as well, I mean, when you have that large of a lead, the ability of AHQ to close out was very, very suspect. I mean, they were very impatient, weren't waiting for the Nidalee split push. They were sitting at Baron with full ward coverage. Nidalee wasn't splitting in the bottom lane. Then they decide to start Baron, then they get chunked out. Then they have to go back. They lose all their wards. It was a mess. It was just a mess.
Yeah, I'd like to touch upon the ability for them to close out. That's honestly my biggest concern for them moving forward and making it out of this group. Just because you're gonna have to close the game if you want to win games here, especially. But as the ward as you mentioned, they lost numerous pink wards just because they weren't patient enough, and we saw White make some mistakes in closing the game out. So that's a glimmer of hope for AHQ moving forward.
Well, you need to get ahead and try and close the game out.
I mean, to summarize it, I think the best way is that AHQ strategically were on the right page, executionally were not great at making it work. The Baron baits could have been better, and the misplays. Anyways, we do actually have one of those big team fights that we want to break down over on the telestrator with Freak. So let's throw it over to him as he breaks down a 4-for-1 in the mid.
Thank you very much, Quick Shot. So this is a mid-game team fight that AHQ wins pretty convincingly, and I want to basically focus on the plays made by GarnetDevil, just talk about some of the mechanics of the Lucian play, as well as break down how AHQ's team fight works. So gonna get us to the clip, and this starts out with basically westdoor pulling all the attention, and even though he overextends through an exhaust, he still does his job properly. AHQ is full of a bunch of assassins, they have a Nidalee flank, they have a Kha'Zix diving in to follow this Fizz as well, which sets up the fight how he wanted. So we start the fight out and watch westdoor, because he's gonna do pretty much the right thing. He's gonna land the shark and he's gonna dive in. But what's really cool here is a great exhaust by touch, catches Fizz right as he goes in. And westdoor doesn't realize it at the time. So if we pause right here, we've got, in the bot side of this fight, you basically have a guaranteed kill now on the half-health Tristana. Kha'Zix coming down, you see Nas already pop his invisibility. Again, we have the Nidalee flank coming in, so that's going to work out. And then the persistent damage is gone, and all the cooldowns have been spent on Fizz. So you've got westdoor starting out the fight exactly how he wants it. He's going to trade one for one of the 80 carry, which is exactly fine. So now let's talk about GarnetDevil, because he's now kind of the way they're going to clean up the fight. And you're going to see why they need assassins to make him work, because Lucian is very cooldown dependent. He's actually in the middle of his combo right now. He's used the W, he's used the Q just now. He's almost out of cooldowns. And let's play the clip out and watch GarnetDevil. Gets his last auto attacks out, there's the dash, and there's the kill on a touch. But now he's out of cooldowns, so all he can do is kite back against the Maokai until his spells come back up. Thankfully for him, his spells come up at the right time, lands the auto attacks, his Q is the only spell that comes back up. What's cool here, though, is he starts finding this isolation onto Naru. He's going to pop the ulti, but Naru is going to outplay it and flash. Now let's pause right here, because GarnetDevil dodges away from that knockback so beautifully. He saw, actually, that she had summoned the sphere down here, and Lucian was standing right about here himself, so he was in the line of fire. He knows that the only stun's going to come from right here. He gets the dash out in time and lets him pretty much be safe for the battle. So roll the rest of the clip out. GarnetDevil again going to get his rescue ability combo out, and it's going to be fine. And at this point, the fight is basically just clean up AHQ, kills everyone off with their crowd control, and it doesn't much matter anymore. But basically, removing the enemy AD carry right away by spending so many resources on that, it actually allows a lower damage AD carry like Lucian to be basically untouched, to save his escapes for when they try to come back on him, and it ends up being a pretty clean battle. Now, that's it for this fight. We're going to send it back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you very much, Freak. I look forward to breaking down some more of those team fights a little later in the day. As you guys know, fans from all around the world are enjoying the action in very different ways. Here are a few more of those photos showing us how you are enjoying Worlds. First is from @JohnBelly over in Athens, Greece, who is watching while studying. And he says, "This is how I Worlds. Yes, that is math." I think you need a bigger phone, dude. Next up is from @SpotPilgrim, who apparently worlds with his Dyrus Loving Poro. That's pretty cool. Finally, it looks like some of the students from Slytherin are joining in the action. This comes from @King Gregorovich, who says, "School won't stop us watching the group stage."
It should.
Is that a cuppa face? I mean, it's a pretty good effort. Guys, share your watching Worlds, how you're doing it by tweeting us pictures with that hashtag Worlds to @LOL Esports, and we'll have some fun looking at it later in the day. We have more action from Worlds coming your way with the hometown favorites, Taipei Assassins taking on Starhorn Royal Club. We'll be right back after a short break with that match.
Take a little too long. HolyPhoenix actually dives into everything.
Oh, maybe it is, but Crystal's in trouble now. He will go down. That's picked up by westdoor. Touch goes as well. He's going to get caught. Still is going to be enough. Nas gets in. He gets the kill. This is it. Dark Passage in all of the trouble.
GarnetDevil's going to be hit up by HolyPhoenix here. The last shot crits, and it hits. GreenTea's now the focus. DP is getting what they want inside the base.
That's getting in range.
They're going for westdoor.
Whoa! And goodbye.
他们爆了，nice哦，
nice 哦，
nice nice。